Good morning and welcome to Carolina Week. I'm Sarah Jensz. Students' request to overturn a residence hall election has been denied. New cases in North Carolina are going back up after a brief decline last week, which was the first drop since January. Let's take a look at this graph from UNC's data. This curve right here represents the 2022, and this is this year's peak. They're almost just as high. As we head into a period where flu season overlaps with allergy season, Dr. Park says it's important to pay attention to specific symptoms. People around the country are protesting some of the changes in the federal government. I was at the People's Movement protest in Chapel Hill, where people marched, carried signs, and sang songs. President Trump continuing to meet with world leaders about a possible ceasefire for Russia-Ukraine. With one big exception, he has left Ukraine out of those talks. This comes on the third anniversary of Russia launching its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Here is in part what Trump has said. We certainly talked to a number of people, and immigration attorneys believe they will be legal challenges. How this plays out in court, we will keep you updated. As immigration efforts continue to intensify, Chapel Hill and Carborough City say they will continue to prioritise student safety and well-being, but for many families, the uncertainty remains. Final preparations are underway at Raleigh's Dorothea Dix Park for the 5th and final Dreamville Festival this weekend. Speaking of big nights, I heard it was a pretty big night for Carolina baseball. Molly, what's coming up? Thank you, Molly. Coming up, we'll be back with a story about a garden in Raleigh that is hidden in plain sight. We'll see you on the other side of the break. Raleigh's Secret Garden opens its doors to the public for the first time in 2 years. And good news for Western North Carolina, more funding for Helene recovery is on the way. January's inflation report shows inflation is high, meaning prices are up. Catherine Dehart is here in studio to talk about how these numbers will impact your wallet. Catherine?
Are at Leo Gabe Metalworks here in Chapel Hill, where I have managed to get my hands on some aluminium, and there is steel over there in that rack. As you mentioned, there is now tariffs imposed on these materials, and the owner says this has already started having an impact. Here is what he had to say.
At Leo Gave Metalworks, they make materials that are tough. These days, business is proving to be just as tough. Leo Gave tells us 25% tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico drive up costs for business.
I essentially pass through the costs to my client, so they end up paying the additional tariffs.
According to the National Association of Home Builders, these tariffs are also projected to affect the costs that go into building homes, ultimately affecting house prices.
In the wake of these new tariffs, the Australian dollar has dropped below 60 US cents for the first time since early 2020. Over the weekend, the Australian dollar hit a low of 59.33 US cents, according to Bloomberg data. This marks the lowest level the currency has reached in more than 5 years, raising concerns for businesses and consumers alike.
6 p.m. will be at 66 degrees. So overall, a very warm day. It's crazy that it snowed a week ago, and yesterday we hit 74. Our final story is out of this world, literally. I mean, look at where we're sitting.
And what a way to start my morning. We are about to take a step onto the Pup Park shuttle bus here in Raleigh. Let's take a look at what's inside. We have got the quote of the day that says, "Tail up, nose forward, you got this." As you can see, the bus has been modified for dogs, and we are joined by the founder, Baden Jackson, who is a former UNC basketball player. Baden, what inspired you to start this service?
North Carolina Republican Chairman Simmons says these changes follow the Supreme Court's 2023 ruling against race-conscious admissions.
When the Supreme Court ruled campuses like North Carolina, when they're talking about admission, they can't take race into consideration.
The UNC system isn't complying with President Donald Trump's executive orders. With that comes the temporary axing of diversity, equity, and inclusion requirements.